My name is Amber Williams. I'm a mortgage loan originator. So essentially, I loan people money to buy houses. And I've been doing that for 7 years. I've been in the financial services profession for 14. So I started out in banks. So any role in the bank, from the banking role to management. And so I pivoted to mortgage lending in 2016. Because their personal finances are extremely important as a business owner, especially since a lot of times they are going to be personal guarantors on debt that they're taking out on the business side. Also, having the personal finances in order is going to help you have less stress and also let you get favorable rates and pricing on products that you buy, which allows you, because you may not always be able to get a business loan, especially if you're just starting, so that allows you to leverage more of your personal debt if you need to grow your business. When they're just getting started, yes, because there is a lot of information that is needed for those loan packages, and experience is one of them. So when they're just getting started, banks, we have our business banking teams that can assist them with the startup, which helps them build credit and grow. Well, first of all, ethical is extremely important, especially as a business owner. And so that is one thing that I'm glad you focus on, because it's not just, delivering a great product or giving great service, but it is, remembering throughout the course of your business that you need to practice ethics, whether it's completing a loan application or whether it's, honoring a customer service request where you may have dropped the ball, right? Also, I like that you focus on the entire person as business owners, not just one part of it. And that is extremely important because our business owners are an essential part of our communities, especially our local communities, because most of them are rooted in the communities their businesses are. So they are the ones who are supporting our Little League teams and giving to our PTAs, and that is extremely important for us to remember when we are thinking about where we would like to spend our local dollars. Giving back. So not just receiving, but also being able to pay it forward.
Yes, because financiers are people who fund things.
Yes.
Financiers are people who fund things, but people today might not be in a position to be a financier. So that's why they are in the making. That's why this conference is to not just help people to become great at business, but to develop them so that when they become that level of greatness, i.e. surplus, that they are then not just wealthy and successful, but they see themselves as a financier of great endeavors.
Well, first, you congratulate them on taking the leap, right? And then if they are coming to me because they would like a loan, let's say they need a personal loan, but they're a business owner, there are certain things that, we may not be able to view the income in a way they may imagine if we look at their income. And so that's a great conversation to have with them, and also remind them to bring in their CPA or their tax professional so that they're mindful of what are your goals, because that is how you need to decide how you're going to do your taxes, because that's the main thing that we're typically looking at is your money. And even though your bank account may show something different, we're looking at tax returns and profit and loss statements. And maybe for a couple of years you do things differently so that you can get the thing that you want ethically, of course, because that is important. But it is something that a lot of people don't think about, and it's because there's so much information out there. And when we're in this society we're in right now, where you can Google anything or anything you've been thinking about, you're getting it constantly on your feed on social media. A lot of times people take information and it may be beneficial, but it may not help you reach the goal. So it is very important that if you want something from a company, whether it's a lender or someone else, you need to know what their rules are so that you can put yourself in the best position to get what you're seeking.
Yeah.
Not specifically individuals, but not like singled out in that way. And the reason for that is because when you're in banking, like you're getting so many scenarios all the time. So I started my banking career in Moore County. So most of the clients we serve were coming to Pinehurst during the spring and the fall. And
Okay.
so that was a completely different demographic than my second job in banking, which was in a rural town. And so when you see those things and you have those conversations and you build those relationships with that clientele, you learn so much. And you always want to, of course, you don't tell anybody's personal business, but the things that you learn, you're able to pay them forward. And you notice a lot of habits that people have who have, greater net worths. And that is something that, you even take back and think about yourself. Like, for example, I don't know, when's the last time you've actually worked for someone else? But it's probably never. But if you're at work and you notice, like, there are certain people who, they go out to eat every day for lunch, right? Every day they're going out, and now what is lunch? What, $20? Maybe. But there are certain people that they don't have a problem with money at all, whether it's in their household or whether they can pick up the phone and call a dad or someone, right? They bring their lunch, right? So those habits and those things that you notice, like, why are people with higher net worths not going out to eat lunch every day, but someone who this may be their entry level job feels the need to go spend an entire hour's of pay on lunch, right?
I've never thought about it like that. It's like, I just spent, you worked an hour and this is your hourly wage, and you worked a whole hour for that.
For that, yes.
Lunch or whatever.
And then you spent a lot of time, like, going out to get it, coming back. So even, like, how you spend your time, like, is it important for you to be in traffic for a lunch break? What could you be doing something else that's more meaningful or that, you can actually relax? No, they don't. And what the great thing about where I work is they're very much concerned about their finances, and you don't have to be like a high net worth person or a business owner to get that type of service where we're looking at your statements and things and saying, hey, when's the last time you spoke with the banker? Let's come in, let's figure out what your goals are so that we can put you on the path to success, because you do need accountability. And most people, unfortunately, don't talk about it with friends and family. So nobody really knows what's behind the veil, right? They don't know what your credit report actually looks like. They don't know what your bank account actually looks like. So they are not going to say, maybe you shouldn't spend, that today, or because we don't know. And we also have a lot of debt, credit card debt. And so someone may be spending, but a lot of it could be credit card debt. And so we just don't have a way of knowing. But that's the good thing about the financial services industry, right? We lend a lot of money, but we also help a lot of people when we notice those things and we look at those statements, because you can look at the statement and say, okay, this is out of control. Like, what are your goals? And if your goals are not to live paycheck to paycheck and die, like, you need to talk to someone, right? You need to fix it.
I like that. Okay, that's good. Woo, that's it right there. You can't escape
Yeah,
it.
and nobody will admit that, right? Oh, I just want to live paycheck to paycheck and die. You only live once. And yeah, you do only live once, but you could live a very long time. So what is your quality of life going to be during that time that you're living? And so I think it is extremely important for the personal finance, because you're not just going to change because you started a business or because you own a business. Those same habits that you have, you're going to have as soon as you get your first, big contract and it pays you, 6 figures. If you couldn't manage $1,000, you're going to do the same thing with $100,000. And so that is why it is extremely important. You have to build those habits, and you have to have accountability. And that is why I love, what you're doing, because it is helping, people realize, what I'm doing is great, but I need to be more responsible, because also if you spend everything you have, you can't give back. You really don't have it to give. And we need, people to give back, because our communities are hurting, and there are people who are less fortunate than us who need our support. And if we're, spending everything, then we don't have enough to share with our neighbors. So it is important that anything that we say we care about in life, right, we should be able to exemplify that. People should see that in us. If you say you care about something beyond lip service, like, it should be noticeable. So if this is something that they're interested in growing and developing, this is a local event, right? You don't have to travel, thousands of miles to attend an event, which also is expensive, and you should probably save your money. But yes, they can come to a local event because they should constantly be feeding that part of them, but also networking with other people, especially people who have been in their shoes, and that can help them. And maybe they walk away with a coach who can support them on their journey, because I know it is difficult being an entrepreneur, and everybody doesn't understand that. And so being around people who have the similar experience, who can help you and even encourage you when it's difficult, and can talk to you also about how they were able to grow or overcome specific challenges, that's the only way to do that, because unfortunately a lot of times we detach from community and we end up struggling with things that are really an easy fix because the information is out there. There was a time when people said, well, we don't have the information, which is why we're not successful. Like, you can Google anything these days, or you can have access to anyone who has the information that you're seeking. So you have to take that step, and you have to invest in yourself. And I also think they should take a look at their finances. A lot of people don't really take a really good look, maybe when it's time to do their taxes, but even then it's not like they're looking through bank statements and saying, okay, how much did I spend on this item this month, or how many random trips to TJ Maxx or Target, did I make?
How much therapy did you do at the mall?
Yes, correct. So really taking a look at those things and seeing, where you could cut them out. Because I remember when I worked in the bank in rural county, so a lot of people that we, had come in, they were at the time like living paycheck to paycheck. And so whenever we would talk about saving and the importance of savings, or even starting like secured credit cards, the response would be, oh, well, I don't need it, or I don't need savings, or I don't need this. I'm like, I'm looking at your bank statement. You have $9 at the end of the month from statement to statement, right? So that is not something that you can sit here and say you don't need. Because while you may be able to call a parent or someone to help you, they're not always going to be in the situation. We're seeing now with inflation, it is a lot of our seniors are struggling. And there was a time where people were able to call, because guess who was more responsible with their finances and not splurging on everything? Your grandparents. So there was a time where you could call grandma or grandpa to get some help. But now that's not going to be option for a lot of people. So we really do need to focus on the things that matter. And again, of course, you can spend and buy, nobody's saying deprive yourself, but be conscious of what you're spending and why you're spending it. So I realize that I don't necessarily care about the product I purchase in the store as much as I like looking for it. So like if I'm, if the line is too long, I'll go put everything back in its rightful place and walk out the store. Like, that is something that I should have never been in there in the first place, right? I think credit is extremely important. And while, we want to not always leverage credit for everything, just like you talked about the TV shows you like to watch,
yes,
a lot of those purchases are with credit, right? So, that is the way to start, because when you have an emergency, if you don't have the cash, you're going to have to use credit. And if your credit is not great, you're not going to get it, or you're going to pay an excessive amount of interest for something that, with changing your habits, could help you get what you need and not pay as much. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of people, because they're able to get it, just think about car shopping, right? Anybody can go buy a car. And because someone can buy a car, they're not as concerned with the interest rate, because they care more about is I got what I wanted. But you need to show people, okay, but listen, look at how much you spent on it when you didn't have to, because you didn't pay attention to, a debt collector that was calling you, or because you maxed out a credit card at a store that you clearly had the money in your bank account to pay for. So again, focusing on those things, because as credit starts contracting and lenders are not lending as much just because of the climate that we're in, you just want to make sure you're always in the best place, because if you need it, you want to be able to get it and have that confidence that you are credit worthy. I will let them know that we have this great local event that helps entrepreneurs grow, scale their business, but also focus on their personal well-being, as well as, their desire to give back. Because again, a lot of things that are happening are focused just on the business, growing the business, scaling the business. But this is helping individuals, become well-rounded and find more. Because you can't have a business and be successful and still not be fulfilled, right? And that's with careers as well. So I think this is extremely important because of the life of an entrepreneur is so stressful that they need to be plugged into places that are going to remind them of the importance of being fulfilled personally, so that you don't have the ability to buy what you want and give to other people, but you don't have what you need. Because that sounds miserable, actually.
It does. I can tell that this is definitely your passion. I can tell that this is not just a job, but you're very passionate about helping people open their eyes to where they are financially.
Yeah, we spend money every day, right? I had to put gas in my car this morning. So, start the day spending money. So it is important. So any chance that you get to save or to grow your finances is extremely important. And I just really do not like when, people talk about money as if it's not a big deal. Oh, you paid over $100 extra for something and you didn't have to. Oh, it's just $100. Like, you have a $100 collection on your credit report that's not paid. What do you mean it's just $100? If it's just $100, you'd have no debt, right? So again, I think we need to get real about money and just stop acting like, just because people have great jobs, that it's okay to spend it all. Like I said, die. just spend it all and die. Like, no, that's not the point, because there will be emergencies, there will be things, and there will be needs that come up and people that you want to help. Yeah. And if you're not in this position you can't. And I don't recommend you borrow money just to give to somebody else, but unfortunately, that's what a lot of parents end up doing, right? For their kids who weren't credit worthy because they didn't listen, and it becomes a burden, right? You don't want to be a burden on someone else.